I have one question first. Was there a witness to that hole-in-one? Okay. It's really an opportunity for me to get up here and talk a little bit about Dennis and what he's meant in my life. The first time I got a chance to spend any one-on-one time with him was a trip to Baton Rouge about 10 years ago. I had heard that he enjoyed playing golf, and I had a meeting at a golf course on the east side of Baton Rouge, so I asked him if he wanted to ride with me. When I got to the church the next day, in order to pick him up, I first tried to find Dennis and couldn't recognize where he was, but I did see his convertible, and I saw the golf clubs and a freshly polished pair of golf shoes on the curb waiting to be loaded. So I really did think that the stories I had heard about how he loved to play the game were true. He also had, I can't swear to this, but my recollection was that he had a Cowboys golf shirt on. You know, he never gave up an opportunity to tweak those New Orleans Saints fans from around here. So that was the first time I had a chance to really spend some one-on-one with him. It was a great trip for me. It also was about the time when the church was revamping its small group program. So my wife Terry and I signed up for small group that Dennis and Susan were also a part of. And it was a wonderful opportunity for us to get to know them in a much deeper way. It was interesting to me that they weren't our pastor and pastor's wife. They were simply a part of the small group. They were one of us. They were vulnerable. They were not afraid to share their fears and frustrations, and they poured out their love to all the small groupers. When I was asked if I would be willing to talk a little bit about what Dennis has meant to my life, I immediately, as you can well imagine, thought about a number of things that he has done for me. But as I began to think about what I wanted to talk about, it became more and more apparent that any one of you could get up here and talk about similar kinds of circumstances that he has had an impact on your life. The context might be a little bit different, the details might be a little bit different, but the traits that he brought to the relationships with all of us were very similar. He was one of us. He wasn't necessarily our pastor, although he was a great leader of this church, but he was one of us. He loved us. He listened to us when we needed to share our insecurities, our fears, and our frustrations. He had a great knack of knowing when to just listen or when to nudge us in the right direction. That's an art, and Dennis had it in spades. It was a wonderful opportunity for growth that I know I would not have been able to have without the friendship of Dennis, and he was our friend. He was a great leader of this church, but perhaps even more importantly, on a personal basis, he was our friend. You know, today is a day that there's going to be a lot of emotions. We've already seen some of that. There's going to be sadness. There's going to be a sense of loss. But I hope that the overarching emotions that we will feel will be those of thankfulness and gratitude that God saw fit to put Dennis and Susan in our midst for these many years. And also anticipation and excitement for where this church is going to go, the future of this church that is going to be built on the foundation that has been perpetuated through Dennis and Susan for the last number of years. Michael, we're excited about having you here and know that the future is going to be bright. Also, excitement and anticipation for the next part of the journey, the next chapter of the journey for Susan and Dennis. You know, we all know how much they've meant to us, and although we don't know exactly what that journey is going to look like specifically, we know that there are going to be a number of other individuals that are going to benefit from the relationships that they will glean from Dennis and Susan. So without further ado, thank you very much for the time you've spent with us.